Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining. We're continuing today with the abodes of the Lord, and I wanted to seek everybody's good wishes and blessings so that we can look at this vast topic. So far, we have looked at, let's just click all the way through. We've looked at Golok Dham, Krishna's abode, which is regarded to be the topmost planet in the spiritual sky. And we also looked at Ayodhya, Lord Ramachandra's kingdom, and Vaikuntha, where Lord Narayan and multiple incarnations reside. And then we looked at the Brahma Jyoti, which is the effulgence emanating from the Lord, the Brahma Jyoti. And yesterday we covered Shivlok, Mahesh Dham. And I just wanted to point out, Nani Ben, you there? Okay. Just wanted to show you one thing. I was remembering you yesterday. Let me just see if I can get there quickly. Yes. This is the Sadashiv Lok. This is the portion which is in the spiritual world. And then we have Mahakal Dham, which is Kailash in this world, which is Lord Shiva's abode in this world. So Lord Shiva, when he's Vishnu Tattva, is known as Sadashiva, and this is where he resides. But then half of the planet comes within the material realm. And he's known as Shambhu or Shiva. And this is where he resides during his stay in this material world.
Yeah.
Okay. That was quite interesting. So today we wanted to look at, we're starting to look at the material world, and we'll start with the coverings. Every universe, when Mahavishnu breathes out, millions of universes come from the pores of his skin. This is described in the Brahma Samhita, it's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And each universe is just like a mustard seed. It's very small. And if you can imagine a room full of mustard seeds, that's how many universes come out of the pores of the skin of Mahavishnu. And each universe has these coverings. You can see these coverings. There's, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coverings. So we're going to look at what are these coverings, because they're quite significant, quite important. Okay. Millions of golden universes. So we see here millions of golden universes come out of Mahavishnu's body, and each universe is enveloped by the 7 subtle coverings. And the Adi Devatas, who we've looked at before, they live there in great opulence. So this is Mahavishnu's breathing out, universe is coming out of the pores of his skin, and each universe has these 7 coverings. And in each universe, Karanadaksha Vishnu then incarnates, expands as Garbhadaksha Vishnu. And from Garbhadaksha Vishnu sprouts this lotus flower from his navel. And on top of that navel is Brahma, Lord Brahma, who is the secondary creator. So we have the primary creator, Mahavishnu. Secondary creator is Lord Brahma, who's given the power by Vishnu to create this material world, put everything together. So what are these 7 coverings? Mahatattva, false ego, ether, air, fire, water, and earth. These are the 5 gross elements. And also we have the subtle elements as well. So let's have a look a little bit more closer. Ah, okay. You want to do this verse? This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 16th chapter, 37th verse.
Shisti divi shakilavitaha sapta bidasa gunate andakosha yatra patati anukalpaha sahanda koti koti bisadanantaha. Translation: every universe is covered by 7 layers: earth, water, fire, air, sky, the total energy and false ego, each 10 times greater than the previous one. There are innumerable universes besides this one, and although they're unlimitedly large, they move about like atoms in you. Therefore, you are called unlimited, Ananta.
This is a confirmation of what has been just described. And this is from the scriptures. And of course, scriptures we regard as our authority. Whatever's in the scriptures we accept, not blindly, but we accept. So the first layer is earth, Bhumi. The earth is worshipped, earth, the deity worshipped, or in this layer is Varaha, Lord Varaha, the boar incarnation.
The husband of Bhumi Devi.
Who is the husband of Bhumi Devi. The wealth and bliss in this layer are 1,000,000 times greater than in Satyalok. And Satyalok is the highest planet in the material world, as we will see later. But in this subtle area, first layer, the bliss, the wealth is 1,000,000 times greater than even Satyalok. Satyalok is Lord Brahma's planet. Thus, those who want to enjoy selfishly, like some yogis or materialistic bhaktas, are kept away from the spiritual world by the temptations of this layer. So what happens is, when the soul leaves this world, he will go through these layers. And if he happens to look down at any one of these layers, and each one gets better and better and better, and he develops an attachment to anything in these layers, he'll end up still trapped in this material world. That's one of the purposes of these layers, to keep those living entities who have desires other than spiritual desires in this world. Okay. So earth personified worships Lord Varaha. That's the deity. Second layer.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Naivan.
why is there a lot of bliss, wealth and bliss in this layer, which is our earth, our Mother Earth? So I thought there was more of a misery in this Mother Earth as well.
Yeah, this is not earth. This is the covering.
Oh, this is the covering.
This is the covering. So earth, the universe, is going to be all inside. Let me just find it. There you go.
Okay.
So earth is here. So this is like the universe and the 14 planetary systems, Satyalok being the top. But now we're looking at just the coverings.
Coverings, but it is called earth as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's called earth. But it's more subtle than our earth. These are all subtle coverings to the universe.
Okay.
But this is called earth, and earth is worshipped by is worshipping Varaha in this. He's the deity in this and in this layer. It's 10 times bigger, right? It's 10 times bigger than the universe. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So there's a lot of different things going on in this area. It looks small because it's not drawn to scale, but it's absolutely humongous. And that's why there's a lot of wealth and a lot of happiness is there. But it's not eternal happiness. It's short-lived. Does that make sense, Nanivan?
Yes, it does. But it also says that those who want to enjoy, if you go to the last paragraph, last slide, please, those who want to enjoy.
Thus, those who want to enjoy selfishly, like some yogis, materialistic bhaktas, are kept away from the spiritual world by the temptations of this layer. So when they go through this layer and they see something they like, they'll stay in this layer. They won't go to the spiritual world, although they're quite qualified. Yeah.
So is this when we pass away?
Yes. And say we have quite a high level of spiritual realization. So we're destined to go to the spiritual world, but we go through these layers.
Okay.
And if these layers tempt us, then that means we still got material desires. And
so there are actually souls living in these layers.
Yes. Unlimited souls. Unlimited souls. And generally they're yogis, or who have been trying to become yogis. Very, very elevated souls. But they stop because of desire. So it's good to be aware of this, because when we start our journey, hopefully, if the Lord allows us to remember this knowledge, we won't be tempted by what is in these layers. And we'll keep our eyes focused on the spiritual goal.
So is this only for Vishnu Tattvas, those who have done some good deed, they go through this. Otherwise, we are taken by the Shiv Tattva, isn't it? Then we don't go through these layers.
Oh, I see. If the journey of, you mean the Yamraj, the journey of the soul. Yeah, this is for those who are purified, those who are already at the level of Brahman, or at the level of high level of God consciousness.
Okay.
That's correct. That's correct. Because this is beyond the heavens. This is beyond Yamraj's kingdom. Yamraj doesn't have jurisdiction here.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So what happens to these souls? When the universe finishes, they go back into the body of Mahavishnu.
Still in the material realm.
Because they're still in the material world. Yes, it's a really tough one to understand. Okay, anybody else? Rianch, did you have anything to say?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, from the layers, the third layer, fire, who is the personified deity of fire?
Good question.
It is not visible.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll come to it in a minute.
Yeah, you're way ahead of us. So liquid, the deity is Matsya. Matsya is the fish incarnation. And in this liquid part of the layer, their temptations are even greater than on earth. Fire, here Surya Narayan is worshipped. There you go, Surya Narayan. Next layer, air. Padunga is worshipped. The Padunga is Cupid, right? Ether, Aniruddha is worshipped. Subtle body, Sankarshan. So these are the four. These will be the four. Chaturvyu. Yeah. And the last layer, Mahatattva and the Pradhan. This is where Vasudev, Vasudev and Mohini Murti are worshipped. So that's that last one. So earth is Varaha, water is Matsya, fire is Surya Narayan, air is Padunga, ether is Aniruddha, false ego is Sankarshan, Mahatattva is Vasudev, and Mohini Murti. Okay, so we talked briefly about Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Who is he? Karanadakshay Vishnu, that's Mahavishnu, the first Purush avatar, expands as Garbhodakshay Vishnu and enters into each universe with a particular group of jivas, right? Who are already in the body of Karandakshay. Now they will be split up. All the different jivas who are in Karandakshay Vishnu, they'll be split up to go into all the different universes. And a particular group of jivas will come into this universe. The jivas are in Mahatattva, and they are allocated to different universes. For the purpose of creation, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, so yes, we were looking at, this is Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So we have Mahavishnu, from whom all the, Karandakshay Vishnu, also known as Mahavishnu, from all the universes come out of the pores of his skin. And from in each universe, there's an expansion of Karandakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Here he is. So there's so many Garbhodakshay Vishnus. For purpose of creation, Garbhodakshay Vishnu manifests the Adi Devatas. From his left limb, Vishnu appears, Brahma from his right side, and Shiva from forehead. So this can get a little confusing. This is actually the Trimurti. So even Garbhodakshay Vishnu gives rise to another Vishnu. And this is actually Paramatma. These are not the demigods, but the eternal associates, Saktish of the Lord. They're not Jiva. The Adi Devatas are above the material world before creation and empower the relevant Devatas to function. So Adi Devatas, they include Indra, Yam, but they are not the demigods. They're not Jiva. They're actually part of the Vishnu Tattva. But they empower the relevant Deva demigods in this to function in this world. So Yama would empower the Yam of this world. Indra would empower the Indra of this world. Their forms and qualities are reflected in the demigods in the material world. Then we have a third Vishnu, Karanadakshay Vishnu. Kshiradakshay Vishnu. And that's Paramatma. He expands into each and every atom. He expands, as long as we are in this material world, there's going to be Kshiradakshay Vishnu with us. He's situated in the region of the heart, as we are. And every single soul in this world, Vishnu accompanies him everywhere. At the top of the lotus is Brahmalok, Satyalok, also known as Satyalok, where Lord Brahma, the first Jiva, appears.
See.
Yeah. We'll see him a little bit more clearer, but here he is. There's the lotus. From the navel of the Lord, the lotus, the stem going up, and there's Lord Brahma on the top of the stem. Who is Brahma? So, is he from the spiritual world? Is he part of Vishnu? This is often a very confusing issue, but actually the Bhagavatam is very clear. Brahma is the most qualified Jiva. So whoever in this universe comes out of the body of Vishnu, he's the most qualified. He becomes Brahma. So this Brahma is Jiva Tattva. Our Brahma of this creator of this world, universe, is just like you and me, Jiva Tattva, but very powerful. Very, very powerful. He's empowered by the Lord. And if there's no qualified jiva for some reason, then the Lord himself will expand his Brahma. And please, we should note, although the jiva can become Brahma, the jiva can never become Shiva or Vishnu. Shiva is in a different category. Brahma, when he was first born from that lotus, he became bewildered. He didn't know what to do. There was nothing around him. So he sat in meditation and he heard the word tapa, tap, austerity, do austerities. And he did. He performed great austerities. And Saraswati, the consort of Nrsingadev, gave him the Gopal mantra, and he meditated on Golok. And that's how he got the darshan of Golok. And that's why we have the Brahma Samhita. Yes, Riyansh.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my first question is, Saraswati is the wife of Brahma, then how can she become consort of Nrsingadeva?
Yeah, this is very good question. This is the original Saraswati. The Saraswati here is an expansion of the spiritual, the consort of Nrsingadev. So this Saraswati is like Lakshmi, goddess of fortune. And she expands in this material world as Saraswati, wife of Brahma. Is that okay?
Okay, Prabhuji, and my second question is that, Prabhuji, does Shiva change like Lord Brahma?
No.
No, Shiva, there's only one. But he can have many expansions. Yeah.
Oh.
So Sadashiva, there's one, right? There's one Sadashiva, one planet. But he can become, just like Vishnu, many, 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 many. He can expand into every single universe. He does expand into every single universe.
Prabhuji, is there a difference between Rudra and Shiva?
No, it's like Rudras, I think, are the expansions of Shiva. I think in this world is 11 Rudras, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
With Ananta Shesha.
Ananta Shesha is different. Ananta Shesha is Vishnu Tattva, no?
Sankarshan.
Yeah. Ananta Shesha is like Sankarshan. And actually, Shiva's deity is Sankarshan.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very, very good. You're so alert, huh? Okay. How are we doing? Okay, let's look a little bit more. So 14 planetary systems. So where are we? Brahma was given the Gayatri mantra and he meditated on Golok. Gayatri gave Brahma the Kama Gayatri, which is the Gayatri which relates to Radha and Krishna. And this is described in chapter 5, text 27 of Brahma Samhita. Yes, Riyansh.
Yes, Prabhuji. And I have another doubt that Lord Shiva comes from Lord Brahma's.
Yes.
Lord
Yes.
Brahma's anger. Then why can't Shiva change like Lord Brahma?
Yeah, no, because yes, in this world, how Shiva appeared was the anger of Brahma. When the 4 Kumaras were born, they decided to take sannyas, and Brahma became very angry. And from that anger came Shiva, Rudra. But actually, he's just he's an expansion of Shambhu. So actually, Brahma cannot be the father of Shiva. In the spiritual sense, Shiva is higher than Brahma. Shiva is Shiva Tattva. Nobody can become Shiva, but anybody can become Brahma as long as one does the tapasya. So although Brahmas can change, because we are, the jivas, Lord Shiva is eternally the same, right? But he can have many, many expansions.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
No, thank you. Good questions.
It's like, when we were looking at the spiritual world, you had Shivlok. We never have Brahma there.
Mm.
So that's why Brahma is always a Jiva Tattva.
There are different statuses of planets in the 14 planetary systems. There's a higher, middle, and lower planetary systems. Brahma creates these 14 planetary systems. So here we go. So a bit more clearer. Garbhodaksha Vishnu, the lotus flower, and on top of the lotus is Brahma. And if we look at the lotus, along the stem, we have 14 planetary systems. So we're going to look at those 14 planetary systems in a little bit of detail, not too much, because it's quite complex. So what are these 14 planetary systems? We have 7, which are lower planetary systems. Then we have Earth, and we have the heavenly planets going all the way up to Satyalok. And all of these planets are designated. We are in the middle part of the planetary system on Earth. And this is the best place to be. Here, there is too much, the heavenly planets, there's too much enjoyment, so we can't think of God too much. And in the lower planetary system, there's a lot of enjoyment as well, actually. But also people go there and suffer. This part of the hellish planetary system. Although there are there's a hellish planetary system underneath this. Yeah. So this Earth is considered to be the best place because here there's not a lot of enjoyment. There's not a lot of suffering. Well, there is, but you can focus on God. It's not that there's so much enjoyment that we'll never remember God. No. But on Earth, we are just tormented enough to remember God easily. It's easy to remember God. Hence why even the demigods pray to come and take birth on Earth, especially during this Kali Yuga, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared and given the easiest path of reaching God through chanting the Mahamantra. Okay, so let's stop there. So before we go into the planetary system, we'll have a break. We'll carry on tomorrow looking at each of these planetary systems. Any questions? I know this is very technical and it can get very confusing as well. And we don't really need to know all this, but it's good to know. It's good to know that there's some incredible amount of detail available of the spiritual world and the composition of this material world as well.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Nariman.
I'm a bit confused about the Gayatri mantras. There are different types of Gayatri mantras given to Brahma, isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay.
The original one is, the original one we chant, Om Bhu Bhu Swat.
And the Gopal and the.
That's the, okay. Oh, there's a Gopal. Oh, yeah.
There's
There's actually
a
several.
There's 4.
Yeah.
There's 4 Gayatri mantras that we chant.
There's the Om Bhu Bhu Swat, which is addressing Surya, Surya Narayan. Although it's also addressing Shrimati Radharani. Then there's the Chaitanya Gayatri mantra, then there's Gopal mantra, and then there's the Kama mantra, Kam Gayatri, which is the Radha Krishna. So yes, he was initiated into the Gopal Gayatri and then the Kam Gayatri. And the Gopal Gayatri is basically giving Krishna, giving the realization of Krishna. But the Kam Gayatri gives realization of Radha and Krishna. And that is the one which is celebrated in Golok very much.
Mm.
And that's how he gained his realization of Golok, by meditating on the Gayatri.
So when devotees are initiated in ISKCON, which Gayatri mantra is given to them?
All of them.
All
four.
okay. All
All four.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
No, thank you. Thank you for asking. Anybody else? Anything else?
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Kamashi.
Yeah, it's very confusing when people in general temples just say Gayatri mantra just like as if it's just a it's just
like
like
bhajan.
reciting.
Yeah.
So it really confuses me in one sense, and I feel when I listen to it, I feel, should I be listening? Because they shouldn't be saying it. And when they say it, I don't want to be offensive by saying, well, they shouldn't be saying it. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. There's no harm. If you hear it, there's no harm. But there are rules of how to chant the Gayatri mantra, which make it effective. Otherwise, if one doesn't follow these rules, because the Gayatri mantra essentially comes from the Rig Vedas, and they have to be chanted according to the meter, according to a certain time, certain direction one is facing.
And they're given by a guru.
And they're given by a guru.
Secretly.
It's a mantra that's not chanted out loud.
Yeah, that's exactly what I feel. Sometimes I feel upset that they're ignorantly just saying it. Will they get benefit out of it? And you feel, I feel really confused.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no harm chanting it. You won't go to hell for chanting the Gayatri mantra, but there won't be necessarily any benefit of chanting it. That's why we focus on the Maha mantra, right? No rules, no regulation. You can chant anywhere, anytime. It's got the same effect, very powerful effect. So the idea is, we don't try to put anybody off. If they're chanting Gayatri mantra, let them continue, because at least they're doing something. Whether there's any benefit or not, that's not our concern, right? It's not up to us. But if somebody inquires, then we can explain the difference between Gayatri mantra and other mantras. So
they're a bit difficult. Once they set their minds on it, that Gayatri mantra is the mantra.
correct.
Is a Maha mantra, is this one what we follow, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. They look at you and you say, I suppose they haven't come across the way Maha mantra has been taught to us by Prabhupada's mission.
Yeah, it's the lack of understanding. And luckily we can, if somebody is inquisitive, we can give that, understanding. But I wouldn't disturb anybody. If they're chanting Gayatri, at least they're chanting something,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Even just chanting the Om at the beginning, huge benefit of just chanting that on its own. So
yeah, I do that in my yoga.
Yeah, correct.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Sitaram Prabhu.
Those impersonalists, that is Arya Samaji, they chant only Om Bhurvasva in every prayer. So, does it have benefits? No, they will. I don't know. They are impersonalism, as I said some minutes before.
Yeah, I would say, we have been brought up in this tradition of Krishna consciousness. So I think we have, Prabhupada has given us a direction, proper direction.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily count anybody out. If, we wouldn't disturb them necessarily, because at least they're doing something.
And we are also have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions in it. Om Garaya Namah, all these things, it is quite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's blessing in this Gayatri which we chant. We chant.
Yes, exactly right.
Yes.
It's really, we're so fortunate.
And above all, it is the instruction of Guru. So the Guru has instructed us, and over there another part, that is Arya Samaji. They have no Guru. What is it? Only one Guru for them.
Oh, is it? I don't know that much detail about Arya Samaj, how they work.
It's like this. I have my brother-in-law, the husband of my sister. He is a great Pandit, Arya Samaji. We better have no great relation with him. Now my sister has already passed away, and such fool has already married for second time. This is what to be done, Prabhuji. It is like this material world. Everything happens.
Yeah, true. What to do? All right. So we can stop there and continue tomorrow. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki jai.